told you guys I've been working in a retail job, and part of that job is I work in a tools department. And working in the tools department, I have people come in, they have a lot of questions about the tools. So one of the questions I get most of the time is about drills and what are the different types of drills. You have drill drivers, and then there's hammer drills, which I have an example of each here on the table. But the main thing that people don't seem to understand is about the numbers on the top of the drill where you dial this in. I'm trying to get it in the camera right. So those numbers across here are telling you this is basically, I don't know, I call it a clutch setting, but it's basically for your torque. So the higher the number, the more torque it's going to use. And if you go all the way over to here where it shows that looks like a drill bit, it means it's going to just drill. So if you're driving a screw and you have it set on that drill bit setting, it's going to push the drill in until you stop putting pressure on the trigger. So what I mean by that is if you take your drill, get your screw going, then you drill, it's going to keep going until there's nothing left for the screw to bite. So it's going to go way into the wood. Could even go all the way out the piece of the top wood if you've got this going in between two pieces of wood, of course. Whereas if you had your clutch setting on, it's going to stop when it reaches a certain point, a certain amount of torque that it has to use to push the screw in. And this is why we pre-drill. So you hear that making that noise already. That means that it has reached that level that's on a 1. So that's as far in as it's going to take it on a 1. So if I move it up to, say, a 5, it's going to push it on in some more. But then once it gets some more pressure on it, it's going to quit again. So that noise that you're hearing isn't your drill not working. That's your drill telling you that it's letting go because you've reached the torque limit that you set for it. So the clutch is kicking in. So if we run this all the way up, this one goes up to 23. We'll run it to a 23. Once again, goes through the board. So you need to figure out where you need it at. So the other numbers that you have on your drill are at the top. You have a 1 and a 2. The 1 is more often used for putting screws in because that allows you to set your torque and it's not traveling as fast. You switch it up to 2, that's your high speed, and that's usually for drilling. Right? So you can see the difference between drilling and running a screw. It doesn't seem like a whole lot on here, but it has to do with the torque. On higher end tools, it's the same thing, except on this one, this is called a hammer drill. You'll notice it has a hammer emblem on the side. Not all do, but somewhere on a hammer drill, there's going to be a hammer emblem. So this one at the top, you've got two different wheels up here to turn. The first one is the numbers, like we just talked about. That's for your torque for the screws. So if you have this set to screw and you have this set to the torque setting, then the clutch will kick in when you get to your correct torque setting. If you turn this over to drill, then it's going to drill just so if we put a drill bit in a low torque setting, it won't, the torque will kick the drill bit off. So if you're drilling, you want to make sure that you're on the drill setting, just like on this one. If you're using the drill bit, you want to turn it till you're on the drill bit emblem. Now this one actually has another option up here, which is the hammer. So the hammer is used for drilling into concrete, like cinder blocks. So if we're using the hammer setting, you hear the extra noise. What that is that is actually a piece inside of the drill hitting the top of the drive, pushing that bit in. So if you're running a normal drill bit into wood or metal, you're going to set it on the bit setting and just drill. Okay? But if you're going into concrete, you want to put it onto the hammer setting and let it do the extra, which forces that bit forward into the concrete. So on the hammer drill, that setting is actually pushing against, making it go up and down. Very slight. You won't actually be able to see it, but that's what it's doing, and that's how it gets that concrete bit to actually bite into the concrete. So again, this is the difference between, I've had this on 1, so we move this up to 2, put it over on bit, would run it in, it's just that fast. We move it back to 1, you can tell the speed difference. So again, this is a higher end drill versus the lower end drill that I've been using. Unless you're doing a lot, it's not enough difference to make your any kind of significant difference to what you're doing. But if you are doing this a lot, like this is going from occasional weekend projects to I'm doing this all the time, you might want to step up your game. I'm not going to promote brand names or anything, but you know, it is what it is. You've got stuff that is for occasional use, DIY. Then they also have higher end items in the and under that name brand. So you don't have to change name brands. You can just go get the more expensive version of that tool. But understanding the tool you're using is as important as the quality of the tool you're using, because you can have an occasional use DIY tool and you can do as much with this as you can the high-end tool. The only difference between these two for occasional use is the fact that this one is not a hammer drill, so I would not use it for concrete. Other than that, this one will do everything that this one will do, and there is a significant price difference between the two. But like I said, if you're doing things where you're going to be doing constantly using these, this is something you're going to do every day or 3 times a week, or just quite often, I would suggest stepping up the quality of your tool. Again, I'm not knocking Craftsman. I've been with them for years now. I only stepped up to the Flex because, well, I caught them on sale, if you want to know the truth of it. But like I said, this will do anything this will do. It's just going to be slower to do it. Like I said, the only real difference between them is this is not a hammer drill. This is a hammer drill. Yes, you can get a hammer drill in this brand. Yes, you can get a hammer drill in that battery type. So it's not something to, don't look at the name brand and panic and feel like, you know, I need to get a better tool. Maybe if you're using it a lot, but if you're doing occasional things, it may be just you need to understand your tool better. So on your drill, when you insert a bit or anything in here, you tighten it up, it's going to get tight. But once it gets to that point, you're not quite done. Give it a bit more, and it's going to lock itself in place. Now you're good to go. On this one, again, it's a little bit difference in the quality of the piece. When you get it up tight, it's nice and tight. You give it a little, and you hear that click. It means that I've actually gone past the point that I needed to, so it's nice and locked in, and this isn't going to go anywhere. You're not going to lose grip on that bit. So on this one, I don't know if you could hear it release or not, but it released. Whereas if I just go and bump it up tight, I've got a risk of the bit spinning around. And when I take it loose, it doesn't release. But if I go up and give it just a little extra, and I heard it go just a small click, that puts that extra, it's kind of like locking it into place. So again, the setting on the top tells you whether you're going to be drilling or whether you're going to be doing screws. If you're doing screws and you're doing woodwork, you probably want to use a scrap piece, find out how far in you need to go before you want to stop. See, that's almost buried. So if I go up, let's say 2 clicks, it took it down to, again, almost buried, but still further in. So I'll go up 1 more click this time. And 1 more click. So that's putting it where I want it, which is right flush with the top. So now if I leave that setting, I get another screw, same piece of wood, same pre-drill, and I run it down right to the top. So you can see they're at the same depth. I didn't do anything funny or fancy to either one of them. That's what those numbers are all about. So, all right. Thank you. Have a good day.